Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
With the release of Doom Eternal, id Software has cemented their new iteration of Doom as more than just a fluke. This is now the way Doom games shall be made for the foreseeable future, and there was much rejoicing. Doom 2016 took many by surprise, myself included. I remember several pundits being distinctly leery of the reboot, citing things like energy and ammo power-ups as anachronistic, a lame attempt to return to past glories. You would never be able to recreate the sense of exploration either, since discovering secrets was always such a core part of the original Doom, nor would a modern audience put up with the simplistic combat loop of arena encounters with hordes of beasties. We're more sophisticated these days. We need a plot, we need regenerating health, we need a cover system. But Doom 2016 proved all of that wrong. We don't need any of those things. Well, we need a plot, but I'll get into that later. Doom Eternal takes the model of old yet new and turns up the volume to an even higher volume. Perhaps the core element, or certainly the one that most people cite as a crucial element in the new Doom games, is the idea of this push-forward combat. You don't hang back, hunting for ammo and taking pot shots, you attack. Where this was best typified in 2016 with the game's glory kill system, in Doom Eternal you now have a means of extracting all the resources you need from enemies. Chainsaw them for ammo, flame them for armor, glory kill them for health. You're also encouraged to keep killing, since that charges up your blood punch, allowing you to decimate foes with one swing of your over-the-top fist. It's a true evolution of the idea and works really well, although with a few caveats which I want to talk about. People describe modern Doom as combat chess, but the point of chess is that it's simple to learn, difficult to master. I found Doom Eternal edged towards having too many options, giving you too many decisions to make at certain times, too much complication. With the game's arsenal of weapons, each one having two different fire modes, your chainsaw, your blood punch, glory kill, flame belch, two types of grenades, explosive and ice, I found myself overwhelmed sometimes. Much has been made of the new ways to tackle enemies too. They have weak points, with certain weapons being the best to use, encouraging you to weapon swap, but there's actually a lot more overlap in what weapons you can use. You can shoot the turret off the arachnid, that's its weak point, but you can use many different kinds of weapons to achieve that aim. The heavy cannons, sniper mode, you can use the combat shotgun sticky grenades, or you can use the ballista, or any number of other guns that have the ability, once you have the ability to slow down time, you can get that job done with lots of different guns. So actually, you don't need to use every single type of weapon, and once I'd narrowed things down to just one or two that work for me in most situations, with a couple of outliers for niche situations, the game's combat chess actually became much more manageable and crucially much more fun for me once I'd narrowed down the choices. What's that old adage? You give people too many choice and they're kind of frozen with indecision, and I found that early on. I was kind of just overwhelmed. So narrowing things down actually works for me. It's, you know, you've got so many choices. Sometimes when you're faced with a room full of enemies, it's like, I have 8 weapons to choose from. Which fire mode? Do I throw a grenade? Like, narrowing it down, I'm using my combat shotgun primarily and swapping out when needed. The tone and lore is one of my favourite things in this new iteration of Doom. While they're sticking to the idea that ultimately the solution to everything is to just shoot it, Doom Guy is turning into a really interesting character. I don't know how, but he's not the tabula rasa of the original games. His characters grew out of that simplistic gameplay and him being a blank slate of the originals, but he has a definite attitude and personality. In his room on the Fortress of Doom, the staging post from which you launch missions and unlock upgrades and equipment and whatnot, he has guitars on the wall. He collects the in-universe version of Funko Pops, and there's a picture of him on the wall cuddling a rabbit. It turns out Doom Guy has a sense of humour. How this homicidal maniac interacts with the more reasonable people of the game's world is truly amusing at times. I can't wait for him to interact with the next lowly scientist who idolizes him as a god, or the next jumped-up asshole he dismisses with a shrug of the shoulder or shell from his shotgun. The Fortress of Doom is a great addition to the game. Also, it's a gothic monstrosity in orbit of Earth, half asteroid, half citadel, half spaceship. Apart from the fact that it's called the Fortress of Doom, which is awesome, my favourite thing here is the number of secrets you can unlock. Doing so really becomes a game in itself and proves the idea of hunting through levels for hidden areas is far from all hat. The game also makes it easier than ever to do so, with the chance to jump back to earlier parts of missions at the end of each one, or repeat missions anytime. You get credit for finding the secrets after the fact. Many secrets have gameplay benefits also, so you can get the sense that you're being rewarded by making Doomguy much stronger much earlier in the game if you put the work in. I'm honestly not sure what I enjoy the most, the combat or the hunt for those hidden treasures, but one thing that's completely unexpected for me is the importance of the lore in this iteration. I find that I'm doing levels in order to learn more about the world and the story. I got a sense of this in Doom 2016, the moment you enter the office of Hayden and see the Doom guy having a conversation. Well, he doesn't speak, but a one-to-one with a guy in a somewhat ordinary environment. That really sticks out in my mind. It was a moment when I realised, oh, this is a world and a story. It has a kind of a story. But throughout Doom Eternal, I found I was anticipating these brief moments all the more. I've never played the Dark Souls games, but it sounds a bit like that to me. You're kind of hunting through levels for fragments of lore as well, the usual audio logs, but I really want to find these parchment pieces where I stop the action and read because I'm so interested. I love the combat, it's great fun, and there's a huge sense of achievement when you clear out a difficult arena or conquer one of the optional Slayer gates, which are the game's top tier challenges. But it's the fact that I'm playing this particular game for narrative that is most surprising to me. I want to know what happens next, and crucially I want to see how Doomguy interacts and what he does. In terms of gameplay, it is hard compared to the original, which I could run through on Nightmare just fine. Eternal kicks my ass on that difficulty. Every encounter is nail-biting, and you literally breathe a sigh of relief once they're over. Everyone wants to prove how skillful they are and goes for the highest difficulty, but if you do decide to do that in this version of Doom, wow, nightmare. Be prepared for a challenge. It is odd how some of the things that marketing heralds as being core to the game sometimes don't really stack up or seem that useful to you. In the game, the experience of playing the game is not always the same as what is marketed to you. The double barrel shotgun is a case in point with its grappling hook. It's in every trailer and behind the scenes demo. I actually found it a bit pants. It's slow to reload even when upgraded, and not nearly as powerful as I expected. So once I ditched that and started running with the plasma rifle and the normal combat shotgun I prefer, it's more fun. And the plasma rifle, you build up this energy discharge. It's a lot more reliable, shredding demons that way. So I had much more success using other weapons. It's just a personal thing, but don't always believe the marketing. Go with the weapons that work for you. Anyway, if you can't tell already, I really like Doom Eternal. I'll be replaying the game because it really is fun to fight those fights. What have I forgot? So the soundtrack, yeah, it's okay. Everyone's talking about the soundtrack. I wasn't that bowled over by it. It definitely works, but it seems like thrash metal, the generic thrash metal, a lot of the time to me. So I wasn't that, I love Mick Gordon's music, but this is kind of more of the same. The game ran pretty well on my middle-of-the-road PC, chugging slightly in the more hectic areas, but no crashes, and only a couple of bugs that didn't stop progression, or they weren't game-breaking. So it's a great game, one to play through, enjoying the lore, one to return to on high difficulties, and one to play when you need to unwind and play some combat chess. So I'll leave you with that. Definite recommendation, and I hope you enjoyed the review. If you want to see some more reviews, I do have more on my channel, which I will link to at the end here. And I will see you later. Bye.